Hello and welcome to episode 2 of WrestleChaps, talking WrestleChats. I forget what we even called this now. What is it called now at this point?
It's WrestleChats with the WrestleChaps.
Yeah, we might need to
rolls
rethink
off the
that.
tongue.
Yeah. We're here to talk about the week that was in what we watched of professional wrestling.
That's key.
Yeah, that's key. I think we're not going to talk about the stuff we didn't watch, so you probably won't
Wouldn't
hear.
be fair.
No, you wouldn't. You probably won't hear much about WWE around here. But I'm your host, Daniel Lambley, aka Lamco64 on Twitter. Here we've got, as always, Gazz. It's me, GTW on Twitter. How's your face? How you doing?
I'm alright, mate.
Yeah.
As I was saying pre-record,
Yes.
just ate some sausages. So,
We did do that.
feeling pretty good. Sort of up to here with sausage energy, so I'm ready.
Yeah, I am completely and totally full of Cottage Pie. I ate way too much.
But, crucially, you don't put beans in it.
No,
We've discovered.
No, right, okay, because if you bring this up now, then they're going to hit me, get angry about the fact that you put beans in Cottage Pie.
Yeah, I know. I want it to be on record that sometimes you get angry about trivial things as well. So
Mm,
it doesn't just seem like you're the
yeah,
acceptable,
but
jolly, positive face of this.
If you
and
could,
then I just sit here complaining.
if you could just stop putting beans in Cottage Pie,
Just like there to be an amount of balance in the complaining. That's all I'm saying.
no beans though.
It's nice. It's really nice. I advise you to put beans in it.
I will not be doing that ever, you crazy fool. But yes, as always, this week and every week going forward, we will be asking the age-old question of what have you been up to this week, what have you been watching, what have you been playing, video games, movies, pop culture in general. What have you been doing this week?
I'll fucking tell you, mate. I played Superliminal.
Ooh. I feel like I've heard of that, but I'm not entirely sure what it is.
It's very good. It's a little indie game. It was on the Xbox Game Pass.
All right.
We got the Game Pass to play 12 minutes.
Yes.
Also brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because we still got it, I got Superliminal. It's a perspective-shifting puzzle game.
Ooh.
So it's got like a Portal 2 sort of vibe to it. Room to room. Different puzzles to get out of each room. It's not dead long. It only took me sort of 2 nights to get through it, but it is really good.
Nice. No movies, just games? Anything else?
Because
you did Downton.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I got nothing else on as yet.
Very good.
How about you, Sen?
Hey, I actually managed to... No, wait, actually, now I think about it, no. I didn't leave the retro realm.
Okay.
But I kind of did. No, I've been playing the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1-2 remake thing they did. I finally got hold of that. It's good. It's just a jazzed up version of Tony Hawk's.
Tony Hawk's, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Fast as shit though, comparatively to the old one.
Oh yeah, I'll bet.
It's like, yeah. I mean, the later ones were a little bit like that, where they were they went a little bit too fast for my liking, but I can do it anyway. But yeah, really weird to get used to. But now I'm used to it.
I played, I think the first or second, maybe those. And was Tony Hawk's Underground? Was that one?
That was a bit late. That was like that's maybe like Tony Hawk 5 or 6 or something like that.
I think I played that as well. They were decent games, but I'm not a skateboarder.
No, me neither.
So I don't know any of the names of anything, and I didn't bother to learn, like, to be good at it. I just did some free form skating around.
You just did
falling off.
Free skate, and that was it.
Yeah, skate into Bam Margera, see if you can knock him over.
I'm looking forward to meeting up with our good friend Chris at some point, and
he's very good at it.
Apparently, he's really good at it, but I would wager that I might be as good as him.
You said this about Street Fighter.
I wasn't wrong, was I?
Didn't you lose?
No, I beat him, and then refused to fight him again. Yeah,
that was it.
That was
I
it.
knew there was some sort of prick move in there somewhere.
Yeah, your mate D'Lo reckoned he was shit at Street Fighter. You were like, nobody's ever beaten D'Lo ever. And then I rolled up and went, let's see if we can do something about that, shall we? And
yeah, that's my fault. I falsely remembered the other person to be the prick when I should have
realised it was me.
Connected those dots.
Yeah. Is this cunt week for me, is it? I'm the cunt this week, not you.
Yeah, you're COTW for this episode.
Nice. Cunt of the week. Somebody make a jingle for us. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously this was a absolutely stacked as all shit week for AEW.
It really was.
So we will just get straight into it. Dynamite Grand Slam opens with Daniel Bryanson, whatever they're calling him now.
Bryanson Johansson.
Literally, they went straight into it. There was almost nothing to start the show. I think there was a short video package, and then straight into it.
You're on.
Shit up. The crowd was nut and banana for literally just the bell going on that one. It was awesome.
Yeah, then nothing happened for like 10 minutes. Everyone tried to calm down.
And it was ace. I would wager.
Yeah, it was boss. I am going to bring up the Grapple app.
Yes.
For which we receive no sponsorship.
No, none whatsoever.
Just to see what I gave them.
I was going to say, let's go into this. Right, go on.
I gave it 4 1/8.
Shit. I mean,
4.5.
We were discussing the other day about how Gaz's star ratings oftentimes don't reflect everybody's opinion. For instance,
no, bollocks.
No.
The average rating for that match is 4.75, so I'm not a million miles
away.
away.
No, that's what I'm saying. I was shocked that you gave it such a high rating because
okay, yeah.
Remember the example I gave was what did you give the Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks cage match from All Out?
I think 3.75.
It was 3.75. No, mate.
And I can double check. Yeah, 3.75.
Yeah, just stop it, will you? So yeah.
I just thought it was good.
It
What's
was
wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, that's fine. Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega was shit hot. I'm pretty sure.
What would you give that?
I gave it Kenny Omega versus Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. I gave it 4.75, just a smidge higher than you.
So,
yeah. And I only docked a bit for the draw, pretty much on principle. There was no finish.
I didn't mind the draw. A lot of people were a bit salty about the draw.
I
didn't mind that at all.
I'm pretty sure last week we called that it would end in a draw. We said it will likely end in a draw.
They basically called it was going to end in a draw when they started the match and kept telling you what the time limit was.
Yeah,
I mean, don't do with any other match.
I must admit that when I watched it, I was caught up in the match, and then it was literally when they said there's only 45 seconds left at the end. I think they mentioned it a bunch of times right at the start, and I must have just missed it. And then I think they didn't say anything else about it until there was like literally a minute left. I was like, oh shit, okay, here you go.
I was thinking all the way through that they could have done with that weird like muted Japanese bell, that just goes.
So every 5 minutes, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, just every 10 maybe, just.
So yeah, ends in a time limit draw. With them just kicking the shit out of each other still.
Really good match. Enjoyed the fuck out
great
of it.
Match.
And the thing I enjoyed about it most was that it was serious wrestling Kenny Omega.
Yes.
It wasn't Hawaiian shirt, funny face, Simpsons joke Kenny Omega.
Even if you don't enjoy Kenny Omega at the best of times, when big matches occur, you do get big match Kenny Omega every time.
Yeah.
And well, like I say, I mean, this might be the best. Well, it's got to be the best match that they've ever had on Dynamite, surely. And
I'd be surprised if not.
It's up there with some of the pay-per-view offerings as well, definitely. Awesome, loved it.
Stadium looked great as well. Just as a side note.
Yeah,
really good.
And the whole run-up to it, when they first did those promos saying, "Oh, we're running this," it was like months ago now, about 3 months ago, when they announced they were running this place. I saw a picture of it on Twitter. I was like, "This is going to look awesome," I'm telling you, and it did. It looked massive. I
really like the back of screen behind everything. So just the bare tunnels, screen on the floor, and then just an enormous shock-off floating cube TV thing.
That was good because especially in that arena, it's one of those high-up sort of arenas where everybody's stacked on top of each other. You got that big cube thing, so you can see what's going on.
Rafters.
They were quite literally hanging from the rafters, kid. Jesus. Bulldog Bob Brown impressions.
It's really hurt my throat to do that.
Worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Then we get CM Punk coming out after that to cut a promo.
To do some crowd warm-ups.
Yeah.
Do some John Cena in ring stand up.
It was good, especially this one. He turned it up for the match to plug the match he's doing with Will Hobbs, and he said he wanted the pissed off one. Be careful what you wish for and all that. Good promo, It's CM Punk. What else is it going to be? Probably.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff there. So then we get MJF versus Brian Pillman Jr. Okay match, better, fine. It got some build, which is more than some of the matches get in AEW.
MJF is fine in the ring.
Yeah,
he's not really that good. He's all right.
Yeah,
but he's so good at his character and promo stuff that you almost, and he doesn't wrestle that often. So you sort of forget how average he is in the ring, and then he comes out and he was wrestling Brian Pillman, who's still relatively new. And it was a decent match, but because of how sort of limited MJF is and how new Brian Pillman is, it just felt a bit flat and weird.
Yeah, it was a bit flat. Brian Pillman doesn't yet have the experience to pull off the level of intensity and heat that he needed to get across how pissed off he was about, But then you've got to rise to MJF's level in that regard, and
character-wise,
character-wise and sort of heat intensity-wise. If he comes out and says the shit that he's been saying, you better come out, all guns blazing. And it's just he's like a step behind in terms of that. He worked okay in the match, but like you say, it's that balance of WWE probably wouldn't have put him in that position for another 12 years or whatever.
Chance.
Exactly. But he's gaining that experience, and he will be a bigger deal as he goes forward. But for now, just a touch behind. The right person went over as well. He went for his dance finish, counted into Salt of the Earth. I'm sure they'll have more matches down the line, whether if this ends now or whether or not they pick it up back down the line. It's a decent few, decent matches. It was okay. And like you say, Brian Pillman got a bit of experience out of it, and that's a bit, especially on such a massive stage like that. It was decent.
Yeah. I give it a 3. 3 bong.
Yeah, I gave it 3 bong. 3 bong on
decent.
that one. Yeah, not bad. Okay, what did we have after that? Oh, okay, so then we had Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. Yeah.
Just feels dead. Like everyone was booing Cody, which that was on purpose, because that's why he brought Brandy out, because everyone always boos Brandy and they know that. If he'd have come out just with Arn Anderson, he'd have probably got a lot fewer boos.
I don't know. I think that Cody misread this one. I think he thought he was gonna come out and he was gonna get cheered. And it was the way that Brandy came out with him. They did well, maybe unless he was milking the John Cena happy smiley babyface thing for heel heat, but it seems a little bit of a long road to go.
He was planning to get boos. I don't think he was planning to get quite so many. I think he thought it might be a bit more of an even split between the two of them. When anyone wrestles Britt Baker.
Because he mentioned, didn't he? Was it on the run-up or was it afterwards where he said, "I'll retire. I'll retire before I turn heel"? He said, didn't he, on Twitter?
Yeah.
And that's such a I'm going to parlay this into a heel thing to say. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't see that tweet until afterwards, and I remember it was the last time when he came out when Rosario Dawson was there and all that. There was a significant amount of boos then. I was like,
The problem is, you can't have a big return, do one match, fuck off for 6 weeks, have another big return, do one match, fuck off for 6 weeks, another big return, and have that third big return get you the same reaction that the first one did.
I mean,
he doesn't really work there.
Yeah,
he could not be more part-time.
There is that. And we were talking about this last week and the week before. He needs to get back to that being that featured match on the card, but he's spent a while being in there with people. I mean, obviously, if Malachi Black not included, but a lot of the under people and that sort of thing. He tried to get Anthony Ogogo over a bit and that sort of thing with that little mini feud that they had. He needs to go back to that, and I think that, like I mentioned, I think the only way he gets back to that position is to turn heel, because then he's got fresh opponents to face.
The issue is, and they did this with Cody versus QT, which was fucking ridiculous that lasted as long as that did.
Yeah.
But Malachi Black he wrestled Cody, and then Cody went away, so he wrestled Lee Johnson.
Yeah.
And then he wrestled Dustin, who's like a big deal, but like he's not top of the card.
Yeah.
And then he didn't do anything for a little while.
And then he's back up to
Cody.
Cody
Came back,
yeah.
And they expected everyone to be this excited for it.
And they
when
weren't.
all you'd given us was that.
Yeah.
And you can't go from this to that. It just doesn't work.
I mean, I hope now. I mean, obviously the finish of the match was. I think they bodged it slightly. Arn Anderson fell off the ring when he wasn't supposed to fall off the ring. But then, they managed to get it back round. They've teased dissension between them two, and then the distraction that Arn did basically cost Cody the match, got him spitting in the eyes.
I know it's difficult to sort of call stuff on the fly, I guess, but when Arn fell off, I would have had him knock Brandy off the ring.
Yeah.
Because we've already seen Arn fall off the ring, and now we know that he was getting up there to do his spot because he just got back up and did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You can't repeat spots. Once it's blown, it's blown. Do something else.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I think they just went with what they came up with in the moment, and with that many people watching.
It's a tough call to do, but it just made the whole thing for a match that already didn't really have a lot of interest in it, and that the crowd was really split. There was no real yes, no to anybody. Like, to have that happen and then still go that way with the finish, and then the post-match angle suffered as a result.
Yeah.
So the whole thing was just didn't go the way they wanted it to. I don't think.
Yeah. Like I say, I wanted Malachi Black to go over. I'd have been disappointed if they did just give the win to Cody off the back of that.
He needs to have another feud with literally anybody else.
Malachi Black, something. He needs to cycle on something straight away now. Like starting this week, Wednesday, he comes out, attacks somebody else or something. Start with somebody, another homegrown talent. Who it would be, I don't know. But like I say, that face paint got a little bit bigger again this week. It's definitely a thing, isn't it? So keep your eyes peeled on that one. I think it's Darby. He's got. I think when that face paint thing finishes, it's going to be Darby because it's the opposite side of the face.
Well, Darby's doing feuding with Sean Spears for one reason or another. So what's Malachi Black going to do in the meantime? Like who's around babyface wise, who's worth him feuding with? That's not going to feel like a step down for Cody.
I mean, on the upper side of things, Pac, somebody like that. Best friends. It's a weird match, but Cassidy's involved in that whole thing with Matt Hardy at the minute.
Hair versus. We'll talk about this when we get to Rampage. But Orange Cassidy's busy.
Yes.
All your big baby faces are doing something.
Who would you put him with?
It's really difficult because they don't have a lot of baby faces. Strangely, there's a massive shift towards heels in AEW, and the same as WWE. It's more heels than it is baby faces.
Yeah.
So I really don't know because everyone's busy. Everyone's doing something.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they go with it at the very least. Anyway, so, but yeah, I thought the match was okay. I was more interested in the bizarre heat booing situation going off than anything else. That was good. So that happened. He wins with the mist, the black mist, the deadliest of the mists.
That is the deadliest, because it's green under that, and then under that blue.
Blue. Blue's just like water.
Blue's fine.
Just splash of water in your face, that's alright.
If anything, you feel better.
It's a healing potion from an RPG game.
If you get the blue mist, you're like, oh, it's refreshing.
Come back.
Splash a bit of that on in the morning, just wake yourself up a touch.
Then we get FTR versus Sting and Darby Allin. I really enjoyed this. Look at Sting go. Shit me. Dude is old.
I gave this 2.75, right?
Okay.
And I gave it 2.75 because Sting looks pretty good for his age.
Yes.
He's being really well used.
Yes.
With Darby. Darby always looks great.
Yep.
But FTR, I've come to realise that I just think FTR are bad.
I mean, they're not bad.
Yeah, but they're on the par of all the other tag teams that AEW have got. They're not that good, and I think they're a bit boring. And every match they have is the same. Every feud they have is the same. They're not doing anything. They came in their truck, and they're like, "We're the top guys." And then they wrestled the Young Bucks, and they said, "We're the top guys." And then they wrestled Proud and Powerful, and they said, "We're the top guys." And now they joined the Pinnacle because they're the top guys, and now they're wrestling Darby and Sting because they're the top guys. And they don't do anything. Like MJF has only had 2 feuds. He feuded with Cody Rhodes, who's he joined his group, and then over time betrayed him, and then they had a match, and then he feuded with Chris Jericho, and he joined his group, and over time he betrayed him, and then they had a match, and that's all MJF has done. And FTR have done the exact same thing. They've had the same feud 3 times. And I can't think of one FTR match where I'm like, oh, that was a good one.
Well, the Bucks match was good. The I enjoy a lot of their matches. I mean, obviously they're a throwback. That's the whole point of the team. Yeah. They're kind of meant to be boring in a way. I get what you're getting at there.
I feel like maybe we thought they were brilliant in NXT because of who they were working with, not because they're brilliant.
I don't agree with you at all. I really don't.
Well, that's
I thought
the point of all this.
This was a really fun match. Sting got to do all of his stuff again. You know, send the crowd home happy and everything at the end of it. Decent finish, decent action. Like I say, it was just a fun match. I had a big smile on my face the whole time. That's, was it a 5-star all-time classic? No, of course not. But
no, it was
for what it needed to do on the card, I feel like it did its job. I enjoyed it. It was all right. I think I gave it 3.25.
Okay.
Maybe 3.5. I didn't give it 3.5. I might have given it actually. Just for how mint Sting looks, considering his age, it's crazy. Yeah. And every time he steps in there, I'm like worried about him. But then you watch, you go, well, shit me. What am I don't know what I'm talking about. Look at him go. Yeah, exactly. Fine. He's clearly mint. And I like the way they've used him. In AEW. He's not diverted from that course. He came out. He's Darby Allin's backup manager, whatever you want to call him, sensei, if you will, face paint sensei. I like the setup to this angle as well, with all trying to rub the face paint off. You got a bit of that in the match as well. Decent. I enjoyed it. So there was that. Then the main event of the show was Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. Nice of them to put that on again, main event for the women's title. Yeah. Decent. That's a couple of times now in a row they've done that for the women's title matches. I think if they continue to do that going forward, then they're going to build up a lot of goodwill for the women's division. If they do have, women's title match, put it on the main event. Don't put it on the same show where the world title's on or anything like that, and then you can put it on as the main event. It's a decent match. I wouldn't. It felt a bit like they were holding back a bit, maybe.
I think they probably did. They're gonna most likely they'll go again at a pay-per-view in a little while. Yeah,
that's the thing they do when they do. Like you get your match and then they move them away a bit, and I like that. I don't like them to burn through a feud in. Like, right, you're feuding now, so the next 3 pay-per-views, one match after the other. Oh no, what do we do now?
Yeah.
So that's
they'll
fine.
Separate for a little while. Britt Baker will wrestle Thunder Rosa maybe.
Yeah.
And then we'll get back rounds to Ruby Soho again. Maybe the pay-per-view after next.
Yeah. It's good ending to it and everything like that. Oh, in fact, it was the main event of Rampage was the Minoru Suzuki one, which we'll get to in a minute.
Oh yeah.
So I got all mixed up. Like I say, because they're in the same arena, basically the same show, aren't they? They looked very similar. Decent. Well, I mean, obviously it peaked really early with that Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega match, but the rest of it was good. Fine, really great episode. Dynamite. Can't argue with it.
I went 3.5 on Britt versus Ruby.
Yeah, I think I gave it the same actually.
Good match.
Yeah, good match. Yeah, good.
Don't have
match.
a lot to say about it particularly. I just enjoyed it when it was on.
Yeah.
I will say though that the But I don't want to do a lot of ratings talk.
No.
But
It's
this
a rating
was
spot.
I'll power through.
Yes.
This was a really big card full of stars. CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Sting, and like people that you know. FTR, if you watch WWE, someone you know. Ruby Soho, someone you know. Britt Baker is massive.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't do... They did 1.2?
Ah, right. Yeah.
And like that's better than the previous week, but it's not their best rating.
No.
It should have been.
Maybe it should have moved the needle a bit, but like you say, that needle... it's a weird way of working it out, and I think that
It is, yeah.
I think. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say it's still a really good, like a really good quality show
Mm.
with a lot of really good stuff on it. So if you were going to watch that, for example, if people watched Daniel Bryan versus Kenny Omega and that's all they were going to watch, and then they were going to bin it off, they probably kept, because of how good that was and the presentation of it, they probably kept a few throughout the show, and they'll probably keep those few.
Yeah.
Forever now. So you'll pick some up as you go. And all they're going to have to do is keep putting on really good stuff.
Yeah.
And we were like, a year ago, the discussion was AEW won't beat NXT. And now it's AEW won't beat Raw.
Yeah, it's moving up.
And in a year's time, it'll be AEW won't beat SmackDown.
Yeah.
So you just have to wait for it. It's coming, but you'll just have to wait for it, I think.
I think it's definitely on an upward trend. You can't deny that. It's on its way up to a point
and
where it goes to
like an enormous amount of goodwill.
Yeah.
By
massively.
putting on these brilliant shows every week and not being like, oh, we only draw 1.2 for Kenny versus Bryan Danielson, so we'll not do that again.
Yeah.
Pretend that never happened.
Sacking off feuds 2 weeks into them happening because the guy who runs the place changed his mind for no reason.
Let's get Goldberg back in. Shit.
Every time I hear the name.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right. Okay, so then that moves us on to Rampage.
Which I just finished watching about an hour ago.
Oh, really? You only just watched it?
Yeah, fresh in my head.
So much like Dynamite, we start with the big match that was fun for the show was CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs. It was very good.
It was really good.
Punk looked a little bit more comfortable in there. He did some really good mat work and stuff during it. It was...
It's the trunks, mate.
Yeah, I wonder why he didn't. I remember thinking, oh, he's back to them. Maybe it was a confidence thing. Maybe he thought he had scrawny legs or something.
Yeah.
And then
Then he saw Brock Lesnar going out there every week, looking like a 2-stick ice lolly, and he thought to himself, you know what's fine. I'll get my trunks back on.
Looking like a torso glued to some toothpicks. Brock Legday.
Yeah. Brock Legday.
Jesus. So yeah, great match. I mean, I don't think anybody was in any doubt who would win it. Obviously, CM Punk won the match.
I think Will Hobbs should have won that.
Yeah,
I don't think CM Punk needs to win that match.
In normal circumstances, maybe in like 6 months' time, I'd agree, yes. But I don't think you beat CM Punk yet. I think the first person to beat CM Punk in AEW, they're going to make a bigger deal out of it.
I completely understand why they went the way they went.
Maybe they come back round to this again, and Powerhouse Hobbs is the first person to beat him. I could totally see him doing that because, if nothing else, CM Punk knows how to. Well, that's all he wanted to do in WWE, and then one of the main reasons for him leaving was because they just wouldn't let him put people over properly. The story, the way that they did their stories was ridiculous to him, and a lot of other people. So, like you say, he came in, and to be fair to him, it could have been quite easy for him to go. Yeah, I want to face Kenny Omega. I want to face, all the shit up people straight away. But he's gone in there. First match, Darby Allin, great match. Second match, Powerhouse Hobbs. He's getting in there, and he made Powerhouse Hobbs look like a massive threat for the majority of the match. He took most of the offense in that match.
Those are really good. That and the Dante Martin match.
Yeah.
Powerhouse Hobbs apparently works really well with smaller guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's his...
And he doesn't do like a load of backflips and like weird 350-pound man shooting star presses or anything.
Yeah.
Just batters you. Like Miro, same sort of deal.
Yeah,
You don't need them doing that. There's a place for big lad does a moonsault. but it's not every match.
No, and it's not every big man who needs to do it to get noticed.
No.
I mean, he gets noticed by chucking people around like they're nothing, and that's
He's really good.
Equally impressive. And he's totally come out of his shell compared to when he first showed up there. He seemed very, very inside himself, and he didn't really do much with his face or anything. Now every chance he gets, he's doing that mad sneer thing that he does, and that looks badass. Looks permanently pissed off.
He works the crowd, particularly in this match. I noticed it, but he's getting better every time he comes on. He works the crowd really well.
Oh, that sort of shit, taking the piss out of it.
He doesn't repeat shit. He doesn't do something that gets a reaction and then do it 9 more times.
Yeah.
He did a different thing each time.
Yeah.
And it was really well worked match. I gave it 3.75.
I think I gave it the same, maybe 3.5. I will say there was one rough bit that Hurricane Rana looked a bit spiders towards the end there off the top.
Spiked him.
Don't know if that was just a miscommunication. I don't even know whether or not he was actually meant to do that because it looked like he was trying to pull him up for a top rope powerbomb of some sort.
Yeah.
But I think maybe he slipped a bit and he just ended up going over anyway.
It looked messy. That added an amount of realism to it because it looked a bit more scrappy. But he didn't seem injured, so that's good.
No. As far I've not heard anything about him being injured as well. But like I said, I remember thinking, oh shit, that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, a bit rough.
Yeah, man. So yeah, decent match. The next match we get is the Young Bucks and Adam Cole versus Jurassic Express and Christian. I fucking love this.
It was also great.
It was really good.
Great.
Just exactly like the crazy. There's certain things like people will point at this and go, "Oh, it's just a spot fest" and all that sort of stuff. But there's something about the way that the Young Bucks and the people that they work with, especially like Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, the way they put together those spots, it's like it keeps you guessing as to who's going to go where. It's not just like, oh, he's chucked. Oh, okay, so that's what's going to... they tease you, like, oh, he's going to... No, he's going to go there. Oh, look at that shit. And then, like you say, you were just on about, big man, Luchasaurus is your guy for you doing your moonsaults and stuff like that. He looks mint. Chuck a giant guy in there with a bunch of smaller talent. Let him chuck some people around. Let the Young Bucks and Adam Cole get a bunch of heel heat doing some shit hot tag team stuff. Brilliant. Loved it.
Yep,
super
into it.
Super PWG match.
It did feel very, with all the spots and stuff, it didn't feel like an indie-rific Young Bucks match.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit tighter controlled, which I'm assuming is the Christian influence.
There's that, but it's also the fact that it's the heat that they get in the match as well, rather than it just being I'm a better flippy person than you are. It's a lot of...
Because they do that from time to time. The Young Bucks will do a match where there's just a load of nonsense flips.
Yeah.
And people standing around waiting to get landed on.
Yeah.
Less so over time in AEW. They don't do that anywhere near as much.
I think that now
they're prone to it.
Rather than them having to rely on the moves to get the face reaction, they fill in those gaps with all the heel stuff that they do. I fucking love that. Adam Cole doing the camel clutch while they come up and run the ropes like they're going to do something mint, and then they just give him a kiss.
But then they do something.
Yeah, then they did the flip and the drop kick.
They run the ropes and then they do a kick. So it's in service of something, and it doesn't look stupid because Jungle Boy's in the camel clutch, so he couldn't move if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Where there's a bit later on. We'll get to it in the Minoru Suzuki Lance Archer tag match. But we'll get into it later on. But there's some standing around and waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Sticks out like a fucking sore thumb.
Really bad, yeah. So yeah, great match. They give the big win and everything to Adam Cole at the end of it. The right person won that match, and
but
so on.
In the right way.
Yeah, in a shitty arsehole way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I give that 4. Went 4 on that one.
I think I gave that the same, 4. It was a good match.
Enjoyed the fuck out of it.
Yeah. So then next we get Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus the Men of the Year.
Yeah,
it was okay. It's alright.
It's not anything, this is it? It's not anything.
Jericho continues to have me worried about how well he can get about and stuff. And don't get me wrong, he's doing really well for somebody his age, but I think he needs to take some time off and reassess whether or not he could do it anymore because you can see him
needs
walking and
he hasn't
hobbling.
quite got the Matt Hardy O-shaped legs.
No.
But he's not a million miles away.
No, yeah, he like I say, that worries me. But I mean, the match itself was okay. I mean, towards the end of it, I mean, they cheated to win. They got the win. The right people won. I'll say that much. I didn't mind the post-match angle either because it wasn't just. No. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of those MMA guys. I mean, I don't know who any of them are. But when that one guy came out, obviously he's a big deal. Purely because everybody in the audience went, "Oh shit, it's him!" and he ran in,
it's that guy.
and I don't know who he is. Sorry, MMA fans, but they treated him like a big deal. The audience treated it like a big deal, and he kneed the shit out of Chris Jericho, and it looked nasty as shit. And then that looks ace. So the post, that my big issue with it so far has been those MMA guys are just standing around doing nothing, and they finally done something. Fine,
well, physically involved, yeah.
And they still managed to keep Sky and Paige as the front and center of that to a certain extent as well. Obviously, they put a lot of emphasis on that MMA guy.
What they did do this time, which they haven't done and probably should have done weeks ago when this started, is point out the MMA backgrounds of both Sky and Paige.
Yes.
Because Ethan Page is a double black belt in two different martial arts disciplines.
Yeah.
And Scorpio Sky has had MMA. He's undefeated in MMA.
That's right, yeah.
If they'd have mentioned that 3 weeks ago, I'd have understood why they were with the Lambert guy.
I feel like Dan Lambert mentioned it in one of his promos. I'm pretty sure he said those two things that you just said about. Like, this guy's undefeated in MMA, this guy's a black belt in two different kinds of martial arts. He definitely said that at some point.
I may have missed it, I just don't remember that coming up. But I think that should have been leaned on a bit more heavily just to make this all make sense.
To tie it in a little bit better, yeah, definitely. But yeah, right people went over, it was okay. Not going to set the world on fire, but again, not actively bad or anything like that.
No, it's fine. And it's another example of Jericho being used to put over younger talent, which is more or less all he's done the whole time he's been there.
He has been massively unselfish the entire time he's been there, and he used to do the same in WWE. He used to used to request to be put in there with younger talent. Sometimes they'd let him, sometimes they wouldn't. A specific example I remember, he had a pay-per-view match with Evan Bourne, and he lost. He put him over, and he did the same for John Cena when he first started up as well.
Yeah.
When John Cena was still coming out in the local sports team's colour every week, the prototype. Right, let me get Hardy Family Office versus Lucha Brothers, Santana and Ortiz. Big giant Santana and Ortiz homecoming sort of deal. They pimped that up a bit. I enjoyed this match. It was similar to the Bucks versus Jurassic Express one from earlier.
Yeah.
In a way.
Had a lot of the same sort of stuff in it. And this was segment 1 of the long-running Matt Hardy has a million segments on Rampage system that AEW seems to be employing now.
Yeah.
Last week he was on Rampage, which is with ad breaks and stuff in America. It's about 45 minutes of actual show content.
Yeah.
Matt Hardy was on for 37 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
He was on that show for 37 minutes. Somewhere, every segment had him in it for the first 37 minutes of the show. And he was on this one, I don't know how many minutes, but he had 3 different Matt Hardy segments.
It's weird. I wonder if there is some sort of weird metric demographic thing they're looking at there. It's like whenever Matt Hardy's on, people change the channel. But yeah, this match was there to pump up the crowd again a bit after the sort of deflating heel loss, I think, from the last match.
Yeah.
Baby faces win. Oh no!
One thing that did confuse me, not to.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah.
To derail too much, backtrack to the last match. Jericho and Hager are getting the shit kicked out of them by MMA guys.
Yes.
No one comes to help them. There's like 9 MMA guys and those 2. And then the next match is Santana and Ortiz, who are in the inner circle, if it still exists.
It doesn't appear that it does.
To help him. And then in the next segment is Sammy Guevara, who is also in the inner circle.
Yeah.
And doesn't come out to help them. So they presumably just sat in the back waiting for their segments, watching and not helping.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I think it is strange the way they've done that. They've just sort of not said whether or not they're even a thing anymore. So it makes you wonder whether it's something they're going to come back to, or whether it is just a weird loose thread. They've gone, yep, they've disbanded now, but we just forgot to tell you about it.
Jericho did an interview this week, I think, where he said his original plan for the Pinnacle feud was that they would break up.
Oh, okay.
And Tony Khan said, well, no, let's not do that. We'll just keep you together, but we'll just sort of filter you out and we'll rotate you back together again later. You can still be a team. You don't have to break up just because you're doing other stuff. And I completely understand that, and that's the way I would prefer to do it. But if
say
they're all
something.
There,
yeah,
say something about it. Or if you could still have them come out and help, and then just not interfere in each other's, because they're baby faces now, so they don't need to interfere in each other's matches or anything.
Yeah.
You could still have them come out and help, and it just makes no sense. And I like it when things make sense.
Do like that.
Yeah.
Then we get Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford.
That was a tangent.
Yeah, decent match. Faces went over. It was a bit of a time filler. I'll say
Totally
that
fine.
much. Yeah, Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford happened. Again, the Anna Jay. I don't think she's got a ring rust off her yet from after being injured and that. So
no, I don't think so.
She seems a little bit behind on that, and I don't think Penelope Ford's exactly shit hot enough to carry something like that either.
I really rate Penelope Ford. I think she's, from when she first came in to now.
Oh yeah,
she's
definitely
done brilliantly. She's had some really good TV matches. I think.
Yeah.
I think she's got a lot to her. I think she's really good. I enjoy all the matches that she does. She's got a really good character, and she's much better now that she's not just stood behind Kip Sabian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that she's wrestling her own matches and stuff, she's getting better and better.
At the very least, they're building stuff.
This one wasn't.
Sorry, go on.
The best.
Yeah, they're building stuff up. It's like they're putting the bricks in place for them to build to something bigger. I'm guessing, obviously, but Bunny passed the brass knuckles to Ford, and she won that way again.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing. We got a bit of a sort of schmoz at the end with Ty Conti coming down and that sort of thing.
A brief word,
yes,
if I may, on the AEW Women's Division.
Yes.
If you have just a moment.
No, you speak like that, and then you sound like reprogrammed RoboCop from RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
And now, a word on the Women's Division.
Bad words make for bad feelings.
Yes, the Women's Division.
So here's the thing, and I worked this out earlier this evening. If you want to read all my maths, it's on the Twitter account @WChaps.
Yes.
I have worked out, because this is the sort of thing that I like, that to preface this, whenever I complained about the women's division prior to the last sort of 2 months, people would go, well, they've only been going for 2 years, give them time, wait till Rampage starts, then there'll be more time for the women. And so I have worked out how much more time the women get as a result of there being Rampage.
Okay, and how much more time do the women get?
I will tell you. AEW have added, by adding Rampage, 50% to their TV time.
All right, yeah.
So Dynamite was 100%, Rampage is half of that, so it's a 50% extra to TV time. They have given the women, so women's wrestling has had added to it 1.8% of TV time.
Yeah.
So women's wrestling in AEW for the last 7 weeks since Rampage started has accounted for 10.7% of their total wrestling time.
They do definitely need to
weeks.
skew that a little bit more.
Their average match length is 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's...
Conversely, Matt Hardy is on TV for 37 minutes a week. So Matt Hardy gets 30 minutes more than any woman. In fact, all of the women.
I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. And it's weird. They do feature women's wrestling, and they put time into things and into the storylines and stuff like that. But they're not quite tipping it over the edge, are they? They're not quite pushing it past that point where it needs to go.
And they keep going on. Like Tony Khan did another interview where he was like, "Yeah, we're enormously proud of the women's division." I was like, "But are you? 'Cause you don't put them on TV ever."
The thing is, it's similar to the sort of anything in WWE situation where they pay a massive amount of attention and they put a lot of care and time into those top level storylines, like they've done these past couple of weeks with Britt Baker and Ruby Soho. That's been really good feud for once, and it was like that's definitely an uptick in the quality of the women's division and the time that they're putting into it and the effort. But everything else just seems to step behind all of that, or just several steps behind all of that. You've had this stuff going on now with Anna Jay and the Bunny and all that sort of stuff, Ty Conti, Penelope Ford for a couple of weeks now. It just seems to be leading into different permutations of those matches with not much happening off the back of it. You know what I mean?
And, does any of that mean, like with Anna Jay winning a load of matches, does that mean that she then goes to face Britt Baker? Is that the jump? Or is it going to be Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, then Britt Baker, Ruby Soho again?
I mean, they're going to bring it back round to Thunder Rosa soon enough because of the success that they had last time. And
she hasn't wrestled on Dynamite for weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while. Apart from that return match that she had after the pay-per-view, after All Out, I think it was. She had one match, and then she's not been on. She's been in little interview segments and stuff like that though in between.
They've kept her visible, which is a good thing that AEW does.
Yeah, it looks
visible. It
looks like they're going to cycle her into this feud thing that they've got going off here by the looks of it, because she got attacked by a bunch of them a couple of weeks back, didn't she? Backstage and all that. So, and then so that happened. That was good, decent. Anyway, the main event of Rampage: Suzuki-gun, Lance Archer and Minoru Suzuki versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. I had no idea this was going to be a lights out match until they started saying it.
Didn't mention it at all, ever.
No, yeah, that's what I thought. So that was a nice little surprise. I was like, okay, well that makes sense, and then you get a nice.
Or maybe they did. Maybe they mentioned it in Lance Archer's vlog, and there was like 15 minutes of backstory to explain why it was lights out. Because we didn't watch that, we don't know.
No. But yeah, we got a decent little hardcore match. Nothing crazy. It was all right. I don't know. It seemed to be lacking a bit of heat, and I think it's because people wanted to cheer both sides. That combined with the fact this was probably the last match of a very, very long and exhausting show that they'd been through.
Because it was all in one day.
It was all Dynamite and all Rampage all together. So I think it's a bit of that caused it to not appear as heated as it probably could have. Decent match. Like you say, you were annoyed about Archer's weird little young boy spot that he kept doing. Was a bit odd. It makes more sense in a New Japan ring, but you can't just throw a bunch of guys in AEW t-shirts around the ring and expect it to not look a little bit weird. Yeah, it was a bit.
Never been there before.
Yeah,
this is an unsanctioned lights out match that AEW washes its hands of. But we've added a lot more staff.
We've thrown a lot more people backstage staff that we don't really like. Go and stand around the ring. Get hit by somebody, you twat.
So look, we're going to turn the lights off. We're going to look away. We're going to turn them back on again. You can have your match. We don't want anything to do with it. But we've put 30 or 40 22-year-old guys around the ring. Just, for fabric interest.
It was a bit weird. Like you say, it was not a bad little hardcore brawl. Nothing crazy. You had the little surprise of Homicide coming out at the end, being one of Eddie Kingston's best mates, and obviously a massive.
A really huge pop from the crowd, which was nice. That brought them up a little bit. The standing around waiting for something to happen thing was Homicide was going to hit Lance Archer with a chair, but he couldn't pick it up.
Yeah.
So Archer just had to stand there, bent over, waiting for someone to hit him with a chair.
I think he was so hyped.
Like a minute.
So hyped to be in that position with all them people. He just got a little bit rattled, didn't he? But yeah, good. I enjoyed that part of it. The Homicide coming out and obviously celebrating with the fans to finish that and send everybody home happy. So you can't fault it. Both shows this week really good.
Yep, first hour of Rampage, I think I enjoyed more than the second hour.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
all
definitely.
in all,
Yeah.
4 solid hours
Yeah, and
of all pretty decent stuff.
how often does that happen in the world of professional wrestling these days? No. So yeah, decent stuff. Right, we got anything else to discuss? Anything else on the sort of news docket this week? Anything popped up? Can't think of anything.
I don't think there's a great... No, not really. There's this WWE Extreme Rules tonight. A pay-per-view on which there is one Extreme Rules match and every other match is just normal.
Extreme Rule. Yeah? No?
WWE Extreme Rule.
Somewhat extremely rules. Not
and
always.
as always, for WWE pay-per-views, my prediction is we will not watch it.
My prediction is everyone will have a lovely time. You put that up every time. You're going to put it up tonight, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Look out for that on the WrestleChaps Instagram page. So yeah, I don't think anything like you say, it was a massive week for AEW. As always, it'll be a little bit sobering to go back to the regular Dynamite this week, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But they announced a bunch of matches for it.
Speaking of sobering,
Yes.
if I may,
Yes.
I did want to do this between talking about Dynamite and Rampage, but I forgot.
Yes.
This week, I have been drinking this.
Yeah.
Don't Panic, by Thirst Class Ale,
Yes.
which I got from Craft Liverpool, our beer benefactor.
If you're in the Liverpool area, get yourself to Black Cat. Nice
Black
little bar.
Cat.
Nice beer.
It is really, really good, and I gives it 4.25 bung.
4.25. Jesus. What is
It's
that? What sort of
really-
beer is that one?
It's a solid session IPA. Get it down you.
Nice. Very nice.
I wanted to do some hashtag WrestleCraft.
Yes, WrestleCraft.
Because as well as watching wrestling, the other thing that we do is drink beer at each other.
Yes, on a Friday, and not
on
watch
a
wrestling
Friday.
that's on in the background. We very hardly watch it.
Yeah.
This week was going to be the debut edition of me editing that down, but I went to check it, and there was none of us on the screen. It was just our weird little backdrop with no video, and I have
It's
never
a shame,
been
'cause it
more
was quite
bummed out. It was so funny.
It's quite a
Jesus
visual
Christ.
week this week as well.
Oh God, there was. We'll bring up the guy who paints these maybe at some point, maybe next
Yeah.
week or something on the watch along, and we'll take it from there because we've got to share it. 'Cause fuck me, Jesus Christ, I never laughed so hard in my life, and it was a Vicky line. It was my wife who just came out with it. I won't spoil it. I'll save it for another
it's fine.
time.
We'll splice it in later.
Yeah, we'll do it on the night.
Yeah, do it on the night.
Right. Well, that'll be it for this episode 3 of WrestleChats. Peace.